And welcome to The Verdict. Mick Cornett and Kent Myers back as we are every week to discuss topical issues and meet interesting people that are making things happen in Oklahoma. And boy, a very interesting subject we got today.
Indeed, obesity is a problem we've talked about a lot on this show and is being talked about a lot. And we're going to be talking to a couple of guys today that are going to be discussing gastric bypass surgery.
Tom Michaud, Gary Guidry know all about these subjects, as well as a lot of other weight loss concepts. But I think it's the gastric bypass surgery that a lot of people are interested in, and we are going to touch with that. And one of our guests today is actually a patient. And so it'll be interesting to get those perspectives and also hear about it from a business perspective. It's all coming up today on The Verdict. Stay with us.
In driving rain, blistering heat, and bitter cold, 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, Chesapeake drills non-stop for natural gas on American soil. Chesapeake drills more new gas wells than anyone else, and from those wells collects the most drilling information and acquires more 3D seismic images, leveraging every efficiency to improve the odds of finding more natural gas every day with every well we drill. The better job we do of discovering bigger reserves of clean-burning American natural gas, the greater the prosperity of our nearby communities, our state, and our nation. And as long as there are more gas reserves to be found here in the U.S., we will never rest. Chesapeake. Natural gas wins the day.
Hi, this is James Garner.
Hi, this is Reba McEntire.
Hi, this is Johnny Bench.
Hi, I'm Barry Switzer.
Hey everybody, this is Vince Gill.
Welcome to my home state of Oklahoma,
where we'll be celebrating 100 years of statehood
in 2007.
Our strength is our people, and the 2,100 Oklahomans from the Cox Communications family are proud to be part of Oklahoma's story. Cox and Oklahoma, true partners.
Happy birthday, Oklahoma.
You would never give your 8-year-old daughter the keys to the car, but when you give her the computer keys, she can go anywhere in the world, some very dangerous places.
Every day, 1 in 5 children is approached online by a potential predator.
That's why Cox Communications makes it easy for parents to control what content their children can access. To learn more, visit cox.com/takecharge.
I'm proud to partner with Cox to safeguard our nation's children. Know where your child is going online. Remember, you're in the driver's seat.
Welcome back to The Verdict. Mick Cornett with Kent Myers, and Kent's going to introduce today's guests.
To my right is Gary Guidry, a return guest to The Verdict, and we're really glad to have him back. He is president of Foundation Bariatric Affiliates. He's a graduate of the Charity Hospital School of Nursing with a diploma in nursing from the University of South Alabama. Since 2000, Gary has been involved in bariatric surgery and medical programs. He's a member of the American College of Healthcare Executives. Welcome back, Gary.
Thanks for having me.
To my left is a new guest, Tom Michaud. Tom is founder, chairman, and CEO of Foundation Health Affiliates. He did his undergraduate work at Boston College in accounting. He did practice accounting for a number of years. He's been a business manager and officer of a number of surgery centers. And now he's involved in very much the same kind of activity here in Oklahoma City. He's a transplanted Oklahoman for a number of years. Tom, welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Tom, we hear the term foundation and then a series of different healthcare entities. Can you kind of explain Foundation Surgery Affiliates, which I think is the parent, and then how everything else falls under it, just so for the rest of the conversation, we'll have an idea of what explores what?
Surely. Foundation Surgery Affiliates is the entity that we have that's involved in surgical interventions. This year we'll do about 120,000 surgeries in those organizations, and it's about 22 surgery centers and 3 hospitals. Foundation Healthcare Affiliates is the parent company of which Foundation Surgery Affiliates is part of. Foundation Healthcare Products, which is our nutraceutical company, is the second company, and Foundation Healthcare Programs is the third entity, of which Foundation Bariatric Hospitals operates under that. We have a wellness and a disease management component under Foundation Healthcare Programs.
This is revolutionary, isn't it? I mean, the things you're doing here are not really following a mold that's very consistent around the country. It seems to me like you guys are on the cutting edge of this bariatrics aspect.
Actually, we are. It's not just bariatrics, it's disease management and wellness management, in which we identified that the vast importance of these things is the program aspect of it and the compliance to the program. So what we've spent the last 2 years is designing software, systems, manuals, processes that will guarantee or help guarantee compliance to the program, whatever program you happen to be a member of. In this case we're talking today, it's obesity and weight management. But it is the program that we're focusing on, not any specific aspect of the program.
I see.
Well, Tom, your headquarters is here in Oklahoma City.
Yes, sir, it is.
How widespread is your organization? Where are other offices?
Well, we're in 8 states. We're in Ohio, Indiana, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Oklahoma, Texas, Arizona, and I'm sure I left one out, but that's where we are. And we have 30 entities in those states. You know, we have some of our health plexes which support our bariatric facilities. We have bariatric hospitals, we have surgery centers, we have imaging centers, we have regional offices, that type of thing.
Tom, I know that you started out in accounting.
Yes, sir.
And then seemed to gravitate into the healthcare area, up into managerial positions at surgery centers and the like. Tell our viewers why you started the organizations that you have here. What were you trying to do, and what was the challenge?
Well, when I got in 14 or 15 years ago, when I got into healthcare in the surgery center business, I was working for an organization that had had success building and then selling surgery centers. And as I got more involved in it, my desire was to build and manage surgery centers, not to sell them. So I started Foundation Surgery Affiliates in January of '96 with the intent that, you know, I really never wanted to sell any of our centers. And to date, out of our 30 some odd facilities, we've sold 1 hospital, and that was a political sale, not something we wanted to do, but it was the right thing to do at that time.
What's the business direction overall of the company?
Right now, we still have our surgical intervention component, but the real growth for us is going to be in management, disease and healthcare management. You know, we use the term healthcare management because that's what really we think the future is going to be for us and for the country. You know, if you look at the situation that we're in as a country, a $2 trillion business, and it's not fiscally in very good shape. We can't keep doing the things we're doing. The same things that got us here, we've got to change.
It seems to me like, I mean, these are the issues that keep people up at night, though. I mean, and basically what you're saying is, you know, this is a direction that this country needs to move in, not just my company, but this country. And people are running for president on these very issues of whether or not healthcare is going to be public or whether or not healthcare is going to stay private long term in the future. It almost seems to me like you're trying to help push healthcare in a certain direction. Do you feel like you're an advocate as well as a business person?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I think our advocacy drives our business component. You know, we are, some people are running on a single-payer healthcare system on a national level. I don't think necessarily the single-payer system is the way to go. I think that everybody should have insurance. It should be universal insurance, healthcare insurance, but I don't think a single-payer system is going to solve the problem. You know, it's innovation and it's improvement in the systems, and you get that through free enterprise. You don't get that through limiting people's choices. If you can expand their choices, you're going to have, you know, this worked, this didn't work. Okay, let's improve on this and not improve on that. You cannot have it with the government running the business side of it.
Let me follow up on that. Are there any candidates out there right now that you've heard speak to a model that you think will work, or are they all trying to avoid the question? I'm talking about the presidential
They're all avoiding the question. It's a very, very difficult question to answer. You know, there are some people that speak very, very fluently on this thing. Regina Herzlinger, as an example, if you read any of her books. Her latest book that came out in June is Who Killed Healthcare? I'd like to make a present of it to you. If you just read this book, you'll get a good insight at the problems we have in this country. And Regina is a 20-year historian on this subject. She is a MIT graduate. She's the first female tenured professor at Harvard. And she speaks to the issues the way they need to be spoken to. In other words, status quo will not solve the problem.
Gary, let me shift the focus a little bit, a little more personally. You and Tom work together. How did you two get together?
Well, it's very interesting. Tom will tell the story numerous times. I've been involved in bariatric surgery and medicine for about 10 years now. Having a nursing background, starting out obviously in the clinical setting, and through a number of differentiating events, gravitated towards weight management, obesity, bariatric surgery. And at the time, I was the CEO of a hospital in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. It was a bariatric hospital, and Tom's representatives came down and looked at our facility, interviewed myself as well as our staff, and at that time, Foundation was beginning the process of their due diligence into looking into a bariatric product line to their core business that Tom alluded to earlier. He saw the vision and the need for a weight management company, somebody or someone or some entity that could have an impact on obesity. Hence, he recruited myself as well as a number of different people off of our team to come up and assist Foundation with development of Foundation Bariatric Affiliates, which is the company that I'm the president of. And our sole mission is complex but simplistic at the same time. And one of the things we want to do as a company is create a unified standard, a unified approach to treating obesity. Have a process-driven, medically driven program that gives individuals the opportunity to, number one, lose weight, but more importantly, to get healthier. And that was the focus on my involvement in coming up to Oklahoma. And in that time frame that we've been here in the 2 years, we've built 2 hospitals. We've developed 3 health plexes where we see our patients. We've developed and are continuing to refine a disease management approach to obesity. Again, so an individual who is either overweight, obese, or morbidly obese has an opportunity to be successful and have long-term proven results.
Let me jump in and get us to a break. Gary Guidry, Tom Michaud, we're discussing healthcare, specifically obesity, some potential answers when we return on The Verdict.
Shining is taking responsibility. At Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Oklahoma, we know managing your health care can be overwhelming, and it's our job to help you meet the challenge. By guiding, supporting, and showing the way, we encourage you to gain control. Because we believe the best tool we can give you is the confidence to take charge. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Oklahoma, shining through.
Okiwani is an Indian name for a place where children play. When we obtained the camp, we found a lot of oil debris left in the woods. We saw a commercial about how the oil and natural gas industry cleans up old oil well sites. We called the OERB and they agreed to remove tons of concrete and steel. It didn't cost us a thing. Thousands of children have left their footprints on this land. Thanks to the oil and gas industry, they will for a long time to come.
Wilsey, Meyer, Eatman, Tate. We're accountants. We do taxes, business valuations, estate planning, and consulting. And we're right here in Oklahoma, working with the owners of small and medium-sized businesses. Steve Wilsey and Stuart Meyer have the resources and the experience. Wilsey, Meyer, Eatman, Tate in Oklahoma City and Tulsa.
Channel, following your favorite teams all season long.
Looks like somebody doesn't want you to know the facts about Cox Digital Telephone. Maybe it's because over 1.5 million customers are saving big, and you can too.
Plus, you'll save even more on all your Cox services when you bundle today.
Oh, here's that new phone service I've been hearing about.
So, while the phone company may not like competition,
Nice doggy.
you're gonna love it.
Nice doggy.
We're back on The Verdict. We've been discussing obesity and all of the parameter issues that go along with it. And I guess the most drastic step a person can take is the gastric bypass surgery. And Tom, you are not only an advocate of it, you're a patient and someone who deals with obesity on a continual basis, I said.
Yes, I am. I had. I was extremely overweight. You know, I did the diet and exercise yo-yo up and down for 20 years. And at the height of my weight problem, I weighed 332 pounds. And I was getting ready to enter my 60s. You know, I was in my late 50s, and I was nervous about it. I actually a very, very healthy fat person. You know, I never missed any school or work in my entire life.
How tall are you?
5'11".
So 5'11", 332.
Right.
Just so people can get an idea of what they're thinking about.
And to translate to BMI, it's about 45, which is morbidly obese. You know, I was 130 pounds over, probably statistically even more than that, over my ideal weight. And for me, you know, I have a fairly outgoing personality. I wasn't going to be ostracized by anybody. I did most of the things I wanted to do. And so it was not necessarily a weight loss thing at first. It was you know, I didn't want to enter my 60s with my grandchildren, and the comorbidities come, whether it be type 2 diabetes, whether it be hypertension, sleep apnea. All those things will come with excess weight over excess time.
And because you're very well educated on these issues, you were aware of all this.
I became aware.
I mean, a lot of people might know a little of that.
Right.
But just because you've been in the healthcare industry, I mean, these things were something you dealt with every day, and you knew you were in trouble.
Right, and we would see it in the patients that we did on orthopedic level when we were doing knees and hips and those type of things. That a lot of the patients we dealt with, ENT patients, normal, just general surgery patients, a lot of them tended to be overweight. So a lot of the problems you have with even our outpatient surgery side, we had a lot of overweight people. And when I started thinking about myself as I got older, reading the numbers, I did not want to enter my 60s knowing that these things, this onslaught of comorbidities were going to happen to me. So I did a tremendous amount of research. I mean, I spent more time on the internet and white papers than you can possibly imagine. And I decided that for me, the best solution long term would be weight loss surgery, the gastric bypass. I looked at the lap band, I looked at several other options, and I selected the gastric bypass after talking to people like Gary and others that could assist me in my decision-making process. And I felt very, very comfortable with it, knowing well that statistically, 5% or less of the people that are morbidly obese can solve their problem with diet and exercise. Now, you try to solve with diet and exercise, and you want to be part of that 5%, but statistically you're not going to be part of it. So I elected to have the surgery done. I had it done. It has changed my life, and I had a good life. I mean, my life was not bad, but it's better now, self-esteem wise, how I feel about myself, my energy level, things I do that I didn't do before, things that I want to do that I didn't do before. It's just changed everything.
Well, let me ask you, discuss the surgery and then discuss the recovery.
The surgery was it's a pre-op surgery, then post-op. There's 3 components.
And how long ago did you have it?
I had mine done in March 22nd of 05. And it's easy for me to remember because I had lost 10 pounds from my 332 down to 322. So it was March 22nd of 05, and at that day I weighed 322.5 pounds. So for me, it's like my anniversary.
It's a good thing you didn't wait till July.
Yeah.
You'd have really been heavy.
I've been horrible. And they put me in a pre-op program, which was some medication to get me used to the supplements, and they wanted me to lose 10 pounds, 15 pounds to get my liver shrunk down because it sits on top of your stomach and kind of gets it out of the way, which I did. And then they did the surgery. I went in, and it's like any other surgery. They say, they have you on what they call, whatever the hospital is, cocktail, and they say, we're going to count down from 10, and you remember 9, and then you remember waking up. So that part of it was absolutely a non-event to me. And I woke up and I was groggy, and that first day was very, very uncomfortable, and I attribute most of it to the anesthesia, recovering from the anesthesia issues. The next day was not fun either. So I spent 2 days uncomfortable, some pain. Was not horrendous because I was on, painkillers and that type of thing for 2 days. And on the third day I left, came home, spent 4 or 5 days recuperating at home, and went back to work basically full time. I think I may have, instead of 8-hour days, I had 6-hour days for 2 or 3 days. And then I went right back on the road. I spent a lot of time traveling. And from about the second week out, my life has not been any different today than it was back then.
Gary, let me ask you, what do you recommend for patients like Tom in the post-recovery? Where do you recommend diet attention and exercise?
Yes, among other things. I think the most important, there's 3 important components both preoperatively and postoperatively for the patient population, those being behavioral modification, nutrition, and fitness aspects that are addressed pretty intensely. And Tom alluded to earlier a programmatic approach, and essentially that's what we preach, that pre-op and post-op program which gives patients the tools to be successful. We refer to the surgical component also as a tool. It is something that the patient needs to utilize and be educated about so that they can be successful throughout the long term. And the procedure itself is not meant for you to lose weight 2 years down the road and then you're happy and you go about your way. It's a lifelong commitment. And you, as a program, we make a commitment to the patient for a lifetime. And I think that's important for anyone researching or looking into gastric bypass surgery. It is to do your homework, to make sure that there is a structured program that the patient follows through an infinite period of time, all the way to death, so that essentially you can be successful long term. And we make that commitment to the patient for the period of their lifetime.
We got about a minute left in the show, but Tom, explain what the surgery did and how it affected your appetite, I assume is the most important part of it.
Basically they cut off part of my stomach, and they make my stomach now is about the size of a walnut or an egg, and they bypass, my stomach is still there, it's just not functioning the way it just doesn't get food into it, and it reduces your appetite significantly. Where if I actually have more food than I should have for the size stomach I have, it kind of makes me nauseous, and I've learned how the onset of that coming on, so I slow down because there are some syndromes called dumping syndromes that are not pleasant, and you probably only do that once, and once you've done it once, you'll learn real quickly not to do that again. But I take supplements. I take 6 supplements in the every morning, whether it be my multivitamin, et cetera, et cetera.
We are out of time, but your appetite is much less. You've lost how much weight as of today?
I've lost 112 pounds.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Tom Michaud, Gary Guidry. Kent and I'll have a final word after this.
The good life comes naturally to Tulsa, where nature's beauty is matched with an eye for aesthetics. A legacy of neighborhoods graced with lawns and landscaping and handsome homes. A place that seems to have patented an ideal lifestyle. Bank First is loyal to the quality of life Tulsa assures its citizens, to the priority placed on education, culture, and growth. Loyal to builders who transform raw land into residential charm. Developers who see opportunity and add vitality to Tulsa's economy. Bank First serves both enterprise and private lives that need a loyal partner. It's how we help nurture this city's very good life. Bank First. Loyal to Oklahoma. Loyal to you.
The Journal-Record is pleased to be a sponsor of The Verdict. The Journal-Record, since 1903, the best source of Oklahoma business news and legal information.
Our pledge as a company is to provide quality of service for our paying customers.
When you illegally hook up cable,
everyone pays.
Theft of cable can cause outages.
Sometimes poor reception.
we seek out illegal use.
And we prosecute offenders.
If you know someone not paying for service,
call us at 1-800-466-5590.
You could remain anonymous.
Cable theft
It's more serious than you think. It's a crime.
Hi, honey. You've got to check this out.
What? What are we listening to?
I had digital phone service installed today.
It sounds just like before.
I know, but it's going to save us a ton of money.
With Cox Digital Telephone, you'll save big every month. Keep your same phone number and get your favorite calling features. Just pay less.
That does sound good.
You should hear the upstairs phone.
Welcome back to The Verdict. We're wrapping up a show on obesity. Our guests were Tom Michaud and Gary Guidry, and they discussed Foundation Surgery affiliates and the bariatric work that they do specifically. Tom, being a patient, really added an extra element to the show that I thought gave it a face on what is a very interesting concept.
Well, it is, and it's something that needs to be dealt with in this country with the rapidly advancing numbers of obesity and overweight and morbid obesity for that matter. And this is one option. I think they mentioned an article in the Scientific American that I think you've got there.
Yeah, they did, because I think one of the more interesting aspects of the issue that they were presenting was the surgery. Yes. But I think they're the first ones to say, surgery is not for everyone, and they have a number of other options out there. But Tom specifically says that anyone interested in weight loss and obesity needs to get the September issue of Scientific American, which is, it looks like this on your newsstand. But he says it's just a great primer of a lot of information, and really information is so important when you help yourself or another family member deal with obesity.
Yeah, and we're going to continue our discussion next week on healthcare issues with Dr. Marianne Bowman's coming by again to talk about this year's Women's Health Forum that's going to take place at Integris and other places.
A couple of websites. First of all, Foundation Surgery, who Gary and Tom work with and for. It's foundationsurgery.com if you'd like more information on their company. And also, go to our website and tell us about a show you'd like to see right here on The Verdict. Our website is theverdict.tv. For Kent Myers, I'm Mick Cornett. We'll see you next time on The Verdict.
The preceding program was produced by the Production Services Group at Cox Communications, exclusively for the Cox Channel.